Welcome to our Monday presentation of Origins LGNS. The crypto space is amazing, but it comes with risk. And with that being said, this presentation is in no way financial advice or solicitation. We are not financial advisors or experts in smart contracts. The crypto space has innate risk. One can lose some or even all of their deposits. Please, please, folks, do your due diligence before proceeding. Our team went on a quest to find a platform where the passive earner could win without telling a single soul. The builder could build and refer this platform to others with confidence. And we wanted a platform that had the capability of lasting year after year after year. We believe we found it, Origins LGNS. Now, this platform is 100% decentralized. That means there's no KYC. You don't need to put in your name, your address, your phone number, or even your email. You simply connect with a digital wallet to a simple staking protocol and begin to earn an amazing token called LGNS. But before we talk about that, let's talk about who they are, what they esteem to be, and a little bit about the track record. The track record. Let's go back to 2021, March to be exact. They started another smart contract. It was called the Olympus, and the token was the OHMS token. Now we bring this up, that token's somewhere around $20 right now, to show that they have the ability to build something that could last, because that smart contract is still running till today. Now let's move forward to 2024, March again. They started the Origins LGNS contract. Why did they do that? They wanted to build the first anonymous autonomous ecosystem. What is that, David? Well, have you ever heard of Bitcoin? I'm sure you have. And you know that to have Bitcoin, you need a Bitcoin wallet, which has an address. If I had your Bitcoin wallet address, I can see your current balance of Bitcoin, anyone you ever sent it to or received it from. In short, your business is not your business. They esteem to make it private, your business, your business. We're currently in phase 1, but in phase 2, they're coming out with the A token. This is a stable token in which your business is private. Only you see your balance, anyone you ever sent that token to or received it from. Also in phase 2, they're coming out with a digital bank and an exchange, all for the people and owned by the people. Let's go back to phase 1, the LGNS token, the flagship product, what brings you here today. Now, they built this particular token for 2 reasons. Number 1, to build community. People like me and you that can build it and believe the same things to get ahead. And currently, we're at 500,000, over 500,000 people that have wallets. Number 2, to build liquidity, to finance the whole community moving forward. They're doing a great job at that as well. A treasury, which is over $500 million, and a liquidity pool that's over 80 million. Now, how do I obtain this token and how do I make it work for me? You start with a digital wallet, MetaMask, Token Pocket. For example, you obtain some Polygon and some DAI. DAI is a stable coin on the Polygon network. Then you go to your refer and you get their link and connect to the smart contract. This is where the magic starts. Because your DAI that you have, you convert 1-to-1 to LGNS. Let's talk about that for a second. DAI is a stable coin, so its value is $1. That makes LGNS true value $1 as well. But David, the market value right now says it's around $16. That is correct. The market value is what we assign to it as value based on supply and demand, buys and sells. So we know that the true value is $1 and the market value is over $16 right now. But for today's, we're going to use the value of $16 for all of our examples. That's a $15 profit, if you would. that goes back to the smart contract to do all the amazing things that we are going to talk about today. There's two other ways that we have liquidity going back to this contract. So I want you to listen for those later in the presentation. Now, in addition, we have coined a term that's called the worst case scenario rationale. I like to call it the soft pillow because it helps you sleep at night knowing that in the worst case scenario, you can still be in profit. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the relationship between DI and LGNS paired together. Later, Sarah's going to talk to you about that relationship in the worst case scenario rationale. But let's get back to the LGNS. You now have it. You converted that DI 1-to-1 to LGNS. There's a button in the protocol that's called stake. You push that button and begin to stake it at 0.3% every 8 hours in profit. The next 8 hours, an additional 0.3%. In the last 8-hour period, you get another 0.3%. But here's the kicker. It's compounded. The second time is compounded from the first. And the third time you get that 0.3%, it's compounded from the first and the second time. In essence, what you make tomorrow is more than what you made today. And the next day is more than what you make tomorrow. The power of compounding. Now, why do we trust this smart contract that governs the LGNS token? It's been audited. That means reviewed, went through with a fine-tooth comb by two reputable companies in the industry, Sous-Titre and Armors. And when they audited, they wanted to make sure that there were certain things in place that protected us. They wanted to make sure that it was renounced. That means that the creators do not have the ability to go back in and to change, to modify, or to move the goalpost, if you would. They were able to confirm that. So you can check that off the list. That they don't have the ability to rug pull. There's no back doors. In short, they can't come in the middle of the night and take our deposits and run off with it. They were able to confirm that they don't have that capability as well. Check that off. And lastly, that there's no expiration period on the contract. It can't stop abruptly on us while we're having fun. They are able to confirm that. Check it off. Now, next to that stake button, there's a button that says unstake. That's a very valuable button because when you do that and you push that button, you have the ability to unstake and return it back to DI, back to your wallet as a withdrawal, 10%, 50%, even 100% of what you deposited, plus what you've earned, the 0.3% for those 8-hour periods. That's powerful. There is no lockup period. Now, Sarah's going to come, and she's going to talk about two things. She's going to talk about 4 different deposits, 125, which is our minimum recommended deposit, and we'll tell you why that is later in the presentation, a $500 deposit, $1,000 deposit, and what we like to call the Mac Daddy $10,000 deposit. She's also going to talk to you about the worst case scenario rationale, or what I like to call the soft pillow. And with that, is to you, Sarah.
Excellent. Thank you, David. This is one of my favorite parts. I call it my aha moment, if you will. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 4 babies. So when I evaluate the participation in protocols such as this, I always look at the potential. But I also ask myself a very important question, and that is, what is the worst case scenario? So here we have the worst case scenario rationale. You can see on the screen, we have 7.5 LGNS. That represents a $125 deposit. Looking down on the bottom, you can see projected 1 year out, we have a total US dollar value of $3,342. That's a great return. However, that's not where my focus is. If you look to the area of highlight, 206 LGNS. But what does that mean for me in a risk versus reward scenario? As Dave explained, the LGNS is paired to the DI, and the paired to the DAI, and the DAI is pegged to the US dollar. So from a worst case scenario, you can see 206 LGNS would equal $206 in a worst case scenario. Guys, I have to pause. My daughter just fell and she's crying. I have to go.
Okay, where are we at?
Okay, do you want me to take over or do you want to continue on, Dave?
If you could, please.
Okay, so as Sarah said, in the worst case scenario, over 1 year, she'd only deposited 125, but she ended up with 206 LGNS, which is $206. So she is in profit after a year. Now, if we were to go and do like a 500, which would be roughly 30 LGNS, again, over the course of 1 year, you would see that, at today's price, 13,370 is a great price. But for the worst case scenario, you're looking at 826 LGNS. You're still in the black, $326. If we go up to 1,000, which is roughly 60 LGNS, the same type of pattern arises here. So even though the 26,741 is what it could be at today's price, if it had dropped down to the $1 value, you would still be in the black, $653. And again, if we go out to what she calls the Mac Daddy, which is 10,000, we are now at following the pattern the same way. Great return, but if everything went to $1, worst case scenario, right, we're still up 6,531. And that is the worst case scenario rationale. Back to you, Dave.
Great job of filling in there, Carl. I'm going to go off script for a second. I'm going to stop the presentation and talk about what you just saw. Real life situation. Carl, Mark, Sarah, and I, David, we're just members of this platform, just like you, many of you that are part of this platform. What you saw was us being able to get each other's back in real life scenarios. This platform is more than just another platform. It's a community of people working together. I just wanted to point that out. Let's get back to the presentation. That was compounding. That's what brings people to this platform and what keeps them here. That's what allows us to show you the worst case scenario rationale is the power of compounding. That's always going to have you in the profit, even when the price action goes south. And to further bring this point home, I want to look at two more things, and I'm going to leave it alone. Number one, let's look at the index number. One of my favorite numbers you're going to find in this platform, and you're about to see why. This number here, 41.07, it gets larger and larger every day. What it represents is if you would have got into this platform day one, and man, I wish I had and you would have got one LGNS, it would have been a deposit of $4.50. That's $4.50. And it would begin to compound because you would have pushed that stake button. Every 8 hours, 0.3%, day after day, up until today. So over a year later, you would have that much LGNS from the compounding, 41.07. Now let's take that and let's multiply it by what we say the average LGNS is worth today based on the market value of 16. And what you'll get is $657.12. I think that's a little bit higher than the $4.50 that you started with. That's the power of compounding. The second point, I want to talk about a case study. Back in December, when I was making a decision if this platform was for me, myself, Sarah, and Mark were on a Zoom with his upline, Marcus. And he told us about and showed us a guy who came in March of 2024 with a deposit of $16,000. He decided to be passive only. He wasn't going to share it with a single soul. And when he came in, the price of LGNS was $80. We looked at it 9 months later, folks, and the price of LGNS was $15. We thought that what we're about to look at was going to be pretty bad. but we were wrong. 9.5 months later, the 16,000 was worth 60,000 because of the power of compounding, even with the price reduction being over 80%. That's the power of compounding. Now, as if that wasn't enough, the passive side, where you can get in and get that 0.3% every 8 hours, day after day after day, without telling a single soul. This platform has more. It has something called the rewards pool, what I like to call the icing on the cake, and it has a builder side. Let's talk about the rewards pool. What if I told you that you had the opportunity to increase your stake by $101 and be entered into a free drawing that happens numerous times a day, per week, and per month? It's called the rewards pool. We call it the icing on the cake. And I'm going to have Mark come and tell you about the icing on the cake. To you, Mark.
Wow, thank you, David. And Carl, great job on that pickup for Sarah there. She said she's back, so hopefully I'm sure her daughter is fine. And if anybody never thought she was a stay-at-home mom, you know it's real now for sure. So I'm going to do this, what we call the reward pool options, or the icing on the cake. And this is a fun part. Now, it's optional. You don't have to do this, but you can. And there's a lot of people out there. We just had somebody that, posted a winning the other night, and it's exciting, it's fun, and people enjoy this kind of thing. So what happens when you do a deposit through one of the three reward pools, which we'll go over in a minute? Three things happen, okay? Just like everything else here, it's almost everything is in threes. We're getting paid in many ways 3 times a day, every 8 hours. Well, here, three things happen. First of all, you make a deposit. It has to be a minimum of 101 DAI, and you turn that into LGNS. So what happens there? You have more LGNS that you can turn around and now stake. And what does that do? It increases the 0.3% that you're getting every 8 hours immediately. Okay. Now, second thing it does, that hash ID. And we're going to tell you, all the different ways and things that you have to look at before you do the deposit. But if you do everything right, that hash ID that is created when you do that deposit goes into the pool. And then it is selected when the pool closes. And then they print all the list of the winners. This one here is the hourly pool that Carl's showing you. This is going off quite a few times a day. I would say a minimum 5 times a day now. So you have many opportunities to get in there, and you can win one of those prizes, which is fantastic. So that's the second part of the magic. And the third part, which Dave covered, and I believe Sarah covered as well, is whenever the LGNS and the DAI, okay, the relationship there and the market value, you are now increasing the whole community by upping the treasury. So the more that's in the treasury, the more we're secure. That's the way I look at it, because the treasury is what pays out everything. Okay, so when we help the treasury is going to be there for us when we need it, which it happens to be every 8 hours. So with that, we're just going to go. Yeah, the treasury Carl showed you there. I can't read it; it's kind of small, but it's over $500 million now, and this is quite exceptional for a contract that's just a little over a year old. So we have 3 pools. Again, we have the hourly, which you saw. And for that one, you just have to come in within the last 2 hours of the draw. So what I tell people, if you want to get in on this one, once it hits about 17,000, it closes at 20,000. Once it hits around 17, you're sure that it's going to close within the 2 hours. Then you can make your deposit, and your hash ID will definitely be in. Okay, and we hope you win. So that is that one, and then it picks out 10 lucky winners. We have the weekly pool, which goes off every week and picks out 30 lucky winners. Okay, now it's going off every week, so it's really good. When I first started, about almost 11 months ago, it was going off once a month. because there wasn't that many people getting involved in it. Now it's going crazy, actually. So it's really good. It's good for us. We see all this. Same thing with the hourly. It was going off once every 4 days. Now it's going off 5 times per day. So very, very impressive. And the last one is called the monthly pool. Now, this one, here's a little tip. Anybody out there that is onboarding people to the program, when they come in, whatever it is, we always suggest 125 minimum deposit or more. You can actually, instead of going in the regular way, which is the buy, that's what we used to always do, go in the buy. But if you go in on the monthly, if the other ones are not ready to go, and you click join Lucky Hash, it's the same exact deposit. Everything is identical. And then you click, you get your LGNS, it goes right into your unstaked balance automatically, and then you go and stake it. Okay, but this way you now have a hash ID in that pool. And at the end of the month, they pick out 51 randomly selected hash IDs. And out of that, the largest one gets the biggest prize, which Carl will show you now. It was like $132,800. The one winner who got the biggest prize, because they got 40% of the pool. That was the largest deposit selected from in that 51. So that's pretty incredible. And then there were 50 other prizes, which is 60% of the pool, which go to another 50 people. So, really, we all win when people go into these things, and anybody that, you never know. You could get a win. And then what's nice is when you see these, just to the left of the red button there where it says no rewards yet, it's so much fun when you see that. It lights up bright red and you see a yellow number in there. And that's what you won. We had somebody just the other night won $616 from New Zealand. So that's fantastic. It's fun. And we wish you all the best of luck in the pool. So with that, I'll give it right back to you, David.
Awesome. Great job, Mark. The rewards pool, the icing on the cake. Mark, as modest as he is being called by many of us the godfather of the rewards pool. He's won it over 10 times. Carl, 4 times. I'm nipping at his heel, though, with 2 times. Now, Wednesday nights, maybe one of our most popular nights, because Mark will start to teach you some of his strategies and suggestions. No guarantees, of course, but how he's won it over 10 times. And as he mentioned, the power of this rewards pool. We just had a young lady come in with 125 and start to stake it. But she went in through one of those doors, the hourly, and she won over $600 in DAI. Now, we don't know if she decided to take it to her wallet and spend it, or if she decided to stake it. But that's pretty powerful. I want you to remember that example. She came in with 125 and won 600. Now, I'm going to tell you about my experience. I was already staking LGNS, and I did an additional 101 because I wanted to try rewards pool after talking to Mark and seeing if I had the luck of the Irish like him. And I won. 101 began to stake for me immediately at 0.3% every 8 hours. But I won an additional 643 in DAI. I could have taken it back to my wallet and spent it, but I decided to stake it in a separate wallet. I opened a new wallet, used my original wallet as the referrer, and I threw that in there and began to stake it. And I said, I'm not going to open it for a full year. So in a year from then, around January, I'm going to let you know what I have in there. But let's take a look at what I might have for entertainment purposes. At the time I obtained my LGNS, the price of LGNS was $15. You divide that into the 646 and you get 43. We'll take that out a full year. And potentially I might have somewhere around $19,166.78. Now, once again, this was free moolah, not what I staked. This was additional. So that young lady who won the other day will have something similar to this just for joining the platform. That's pretty powerful. And that should draw you Wednesday nights to hear Mark talk about how he does what he does. That's the rewards pool. That's the power of it. Now, we have the passive side of this whole platform where you're not telling a single soul. You're just sitting back and earning that 0.3% every 8 hours. We also talked about the worst case scenario rationale, how you can sleep with that rationale like a soft pillow at night. And it basically says that as long as you continue to compound, it doesn't matter what the price action does. You will always be in the profit. And then we talked about the rewards pool. All this for the passive side. Now you might say, David, all this sounds amazing, but how does this smart contract have the liquidity to do all these great things? How is it at a close to $500 million or over $500 million? How does it have a liquidity pool over 80 million? Let me tell you how. We talked about the conversion of DAI to LGNS 1-to-1, $1 being the true value of LGNS as of today. We took the average of $16 per LGNS because of the market value. You subtract that. $15 every time someone obtains an LGNS today goes back into that contract to do these great things. Number two, whenever a person push unstake, converts their LGNS back to DAI to withdraw back to their wallet, you can do that in a matter of 10 seconds. 5% goes back into the smart contract to do these amazing things. And lastly, Carl's going to touch on it when he talks about the builder side, but there's a portion called breakage in building. And that's when a builder doesn't meet all the qualifications to reach the maximum compensation plan. That breakage typically goes to your upline or back into the pockets of the owners. But there is no owners. They renounced it, and it doesn't go to your upline. It goes back into the smart contract to do these amazing things. Now, with that being said, that's the passive side. It's easy. Anyone can do it and benefit from it. But there's an amazing builder side to it as well. And now Carl's going to come and talk to you about the builder side. To you, Carl.
Great. Thanks, David. So, this is, as much as I love being passive, this is what I live for. I live for sharing this with other people and exploding their incomes. So we have two sides to this rewards plan. Okay, we have the spiderweb income and we got what we call the DAO rewards. So the spiderweb is what literally starts the process and then the DAO finishes it. So how this all works is there's two qualifications. So it is a uni-level, so it's unlimited width and 15 levels of depth. Now, each level requires a wallet in order for you to get paid. Okay, now that wallet, whether it be your own self-referred wallet or someone you shared it with, must have a minimum of $100 or more in LGNS. We recommend 125, and the reason we do that is so that there's a buffer between the threshold of $100 so that you don't fall below that, okay? Because we know that in our industry, crypto goes up and down, so it's always good to have a buffer. So every wallet, you could have 100 wallets personally referred, they're all on your first level, and they will all pay you up to 16%. I'm going to show you where that 16% comes from, okay? So we're going to go into here. Hopefully they're loaded. Okay, good. So this amount here, next reward amount, everybody gets it. This is what you get paid every 8 hours. So what happens is your sponsor or anybody above your sponsor that is qualified, they will receive the level of rewards matched to this. So David being my sponsor, when I receive this, he will get a 16% match of what this number is every 8 hours. And again, as David mentions, every 8 hours, that number goes up. So it is increasing every 8 hours. So again, going back to here, to open up a secondary level, you would have to, I forgot to mention, you have to have at least $100 in LGNS in your wallet as well on the first level. So 125 is the standard across. Level 2, this wallet needs to have at least $125 or more in LGNS. I'm going to say 125 rather than 100. That way, nobody risks going below that threshold. But you, as a sponsor, you have to increase your stake amount to over $300. So $325. If you want to get paid on the third level at the 8%, you would have to have 3 wallets personally referred that have at least $100, $125, let's say that, of LGNS staked at any given time, and you must upgrade your staking to 525 or more. Okay, we're going to talk about that $25 buffer on every level so that nobody falls below that threshold. And that's how you qualify. Kind of looks like this. Okay, so the first level, $100 in all these wallets, you need to maintain $100 and you'll get paid 16%. You upgrade to 300, all these wallets, all these little circles here, all have to have a minimum of 125. Doesn't matter how deep they go, that's the minimum. You, however, have to increase your staking amount as you go down the levels. So 300 for level 2, 500 for level 3, and so forth, all the way down to 10,000, 15 levels. So when we look at that, we have the start of what we do in our compensation plan, which leads us to the DAO rewards. Now that one works on a percentage per level. This one works on total volume that you have. Now each wallet is considered a mission. That's what they call a mission in this program. So everybody has a mission to grow. So when you have 3 wallets or 3 missions that have accumulated 50,000 or more in LGNS that is compounding at any given time. Let me just show you another one here. So as an example, let's say you had 5 personally referred wallets, whether they're your own or people you know, however it is. So when you look at wallet number 2 or mission number 2, mission number 4, mission number 5, they all have an accumulated amount of 50,000 or more in volume, okay? So once you attain that, then what happens is all of your wallets that you have referred, you could have 100 personally referred wallets that are in here. They all now go to infinity. They go beyond 15 levels and they go to infinity, but paid based on volume only. Now, there's a lot more detail to this that we go over on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 9 p.m. in this room. So feel free to come back and learn more about that. But that is the compensation plan or the builder side of this business. Back to you, Dave.
Awesome. Great job, Carl. What we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for questions. And after that, some testimonies.